how to set up a battle. Starting off, players shuffle their opponent's deck. This is their deck and their deck zone. 3 cards are set in the shield zone. Each player gets 3 shields. Players then decide who goes first, either through dice roll, coin flip, rock, paper, scissors, or any decision. Both players then draw their opening hand of 5 cards. And on that player's turn, they draw 1 card from their deck to add to their hand. Their actions on their turn by summoning monsters, using their 1 move, battling, and non-monster cards. There are no phases in DX Monsters, and you battle until your opponent loses their shields, until you can zone them and win. There are many card types of DX Monsters, so let's go over a few. First up are monster cards. They come in 4 levels, level 1s, 2s, 3s, and finally your 4s. Level 1s being your weakest, and level 4s being your strongest. Monsters are the main way you will be zoning your opponent, and monster cards go by their battle color and battle stats when they battle. Next up are equip cards, and just like they're named, equip cards, they attach to monsters. Most equip cards come with a cost, but they usually give a monster a boost in power or even a useful effect. And a quick reminder, equip cards are special. Faced up equip cards won't count towards a bench break. Defeated in battle to the bench zone, they won't count towards a bench break, for there are 3 cards, but face up equip cards do not count. Zoned equip cards do count towards your bench break. Next up are your spell cards. Normal spells that can only be played on a player's turn, and quick spells which can be played during any time, even during your opponent's actions. For example, this one negates an opponent's monster's attack. Finally, land cards. The player can only control 1 land card at a time, and if they want another one, it replaces the old one, and the old one goes to the graveyard. Land cards are like spell cards, but they stay on the field and they have continuous effects. Building a deck, make sure you have a good variety of different type of cards so you don't stall yourself out during battle. Monster cards. They're the main way to zone your opponent. Monsters come in 4 levels, level 1s, level 2s, level 3s, and level 4s. Quick look at a monster card. This is a level 4, your strongest, and a level 1, your weakest. Look at this monster, we'll go right here where his level is, and this color right here, that's known as his battle color. And down here are their battle stats. This is what color the monster uses when this monster attacks. Monsters are summoned into the battle zone, and higher level monsters must be bench summoned, to where you bench a monster, and that monster takes their place. And you have to go in order from 1, 2, 3, and 4, unless a monster is special summoned. Spell cards. Come in 2 types. Blue as normal spells, and red as in quick spells. Normal spells can only be used on the controller's turn, and come in many varieties. Quick spells, on the other hand, can be used during any player's turn, during any action. There are plenty of spell cards to collect and build your strategy around. Spell cards are played from the player's hand and then sent to the graveyard after their effects are activated. Some spell cards come with a cost where you must zone it or another card in which you place it to activate its effect. Equip cards. Equip cards are special cards, and like their name, they equip to a monster and give them a boost in their battle stats or even a useful effect. Some equip cards come with a cost, but they are placed up under the monster they want to be equipped to. And just a quick reminder, face-up equip cards do not count towards a bench break. For example, if this monster will attack and defeat Page Mage while he's equipped and send this monster back, it will not cause a bench break, for technically there are 2 cards here. Equip cards would count towards a bench break if they are zoned and battled with a bench break. There are no limits to how many equips a monster can have. And if an equipped monster ever leaves the field, those equip cards are sent to the graveyard. Land cards. Cards are the green cards, and like spell cards, but they're continuous and they stay on the field. cast their land card in their land zone and it stays on the field. A player can only control one land card at a time unless they want to replace it with another one. Send the old one to the graveyard. There are many land cards to collect and each have its own advantages. Which one will you choose? Summoning monsters. Each player controls 3 battle zones and 3 bench zones. Monsters can only be summoned in the battle zone unless they are special summoned. DX Monsters has a bench summon mechanic. Level 1 monsters have no summon requirement and can be summoned in any battle zone. To summon my level 2, 3, and 4 monsters, I must conduct what's called the bench summon. To summon my level 2 monster, I must bench a level 1 monster, and he takes his place. If I want to summon a level 3 monster, I must bench a level 2 monster. And finally, to summon level 4, you must bench a level 3 monster. Just be careful of summoning, because once 3 cards are in the bench zone, they are sent to the graveyard and the player is zoned, either losing the shield or the game. Monsters in the bench zone can also be used to summon monsters, but instead of being benched, they are zoned. And last, special summon. Some monsters can be special summoned by effects. For this monster, you can zone him from your field to special summon a level 4 monster. Special summon can be placed anywhere, and it doesn't require you to bench the lower level monster. During your player's turn, they are allowed 1 move per turn. And what that move allows them to move their monsters. And there's many ways you can use that 1 move. One way, you can bring a bench monster back up into the battle zone. Monsters in the battle zone can attack. Monsters in the bench zone cannot attack, but can be attacked. The second way is switching 2 adjacent monsters. For example, either like this, and you can also use your 1 move to uncover a block monster by a zone card. For example, bring this card back up. And why would you want to do that? Face-up cards can use their effects. Another way to use your move is in a combo attack. For each monster can attack once, and you can move once per turn. So, this guy can attack for 70 green, benching back the Page Mage. And we can use our 1 move this turn to swap these 2 monsters, so now our Flame Knight can attack and finish off Page Mage. How to battle in DX Monsters. Monsters can only battle in the battle zone, and battle across the column that they are in. Looking at a monster card, we have right here by their level is what's known as their battle color, and down here are their 3 battle stats. The color represents what color they use when they attack. And we'll go over some examples. As in this one, he's green. 70 green will challenge this monster's 45 green. 70 is higher, so the defeated monster is pushed back into the bench zone. While a monster is in the bench zone, if it is attacked and defeated again, it is flipped over. For example, Ideology can attack the weakest stat, so he will attack with 80 red against a 25 red, beating the Gearbot and zoning it. Zone monsters cannot be moved. And for example, if 2 monsters are tied, 60 red against 60 red, both monsters would be benched. You can perform combo attacks by using your move that turn. For example, these 2 can collide, benching each other. Now we can use our 1 move to move Ideology over and strike for 80 red, defeating the bot. The player can also direct attack their opponent when they control no face-up monsters, and they have 1 monster in each column that can attack at once, either zoning the opponent, either breaking a shield, or winning you the game. There are more than just monster cards. We have spell cards, equips, and land cards. There are no phases as DX monsters, and a player can use their cards to their strategy. For example, on our opponent's turn, they will try to attack, but we can use our barrier to stop and negate their attack. So now it's our turn, so we draw for our turn. We want to bench our level 1 monster, so we can summon our level 2 monster. Use his 1 move to move over. Now we will use our equip to zone 1 card. to equip this to him. Now our Flame Knight is strong enough to attack, but first, we'll use a potion to send 2 zone cards to the graveyard. 2. We now play our land card, and this allows our bench monsters to attack. So now, we will bench our Flame Knight so we can summon our Adam the First Knight. Now I also equip Adam the First Knight with the Power Sphere. Give him 80 green to go over our opponent's 70 green. So we will attack, benching the monster, and now we may mill 1 card. So now that our Flame Knight may attack, and zoning the monster. That was an example of using a different variety of cards in a turn. Just remember the 3 key rules. Summon the main monsters as you want. You can move once per turn, and each monster can attack once. Bench break. Each player controls 3 bench zones that are above their battle zones. Monsters are sent to the bench zone once they are used to summon a stronger monster, or defeated in battle, or pushed back by a card effect. Bench break occurs when a player has 3 cards stacked in one of their bench zones. For example, if our opponent used their 1 move to move over and strike our monster for 70 green, defeating our 20 green, pushing our monster back, causing a bench break. A pile is then sent to our graveyard, and we the player are zoned. Luckily, if we have a shield, the shield is broken instead, and shield cards are added to our hand. Once a player controls no shields, they're in danger of being zoned, so 1 more bench break, direct attack, could finish them. And to be careful, because a player can end up bench breaking themselves and losing the game. We're benching that monster to summon him, and benching this monster to summon their level 4 monster. But unfortunately, they bench broke themselves, and with no shields, they zone themselves, losing the game. Battling your opponent monsters and causing bench breaks is the main way you're going to win in DX Monsters. But there are many other ways. Directly attacking your opponent is another way to zone them. And how direct attack works is if a player controls a monster in each of their battle zones that has not attacked and can attack all at once, while their opponent controls no face-up cards. This will hit the player directly, zoning them by breaking the shield, or if they have no shields, then that direct attack wins you the game. A direct attack can also combo with your move. For example, this monster will attack, benching their monster, causing a bench break to break a shield. Now we can use our 1 move to swap these 2 adjacent monsters. And since these 2 monsters haven't attacked, and also this guy, and now they control no face-up monsters, they can all 3 attack again, breaking another shield. And now our opponent's completely open with no shields, so the next bench break or direct attack could win us the game. During a direct attack, if one of the attacks was cancelled, a direct attack still would not got through because you still need 3 monsters to attack at the same time. Decking out is another way a player can lose. Once a player's turn and they cannot draw from their deck, they will automatically lose, even if they control any shield cards. So sometimes it's easier to bench break your opponent or have monsters with effects of milling their deck. Whatever one comes faster. Other than bench breaks and direct attacks, there's another way to zone your opponent, and that's through powerful card effects. For example, this monster, Billy the Fairy Queen, you may discard 5 cards to zone your opponent. If you have 5 cards to discard, you can automatically zone your opponent, in that case breaking a shield, or if they control no shields, winning you the game. There are many monsters with zoning effects. For example, Zamus. Every time he zones a monster by battle, he gains Zamus counters based off that monster's level, which are now given 4. And once Zamus reaches 20, you automatically win the game. DX terminology. Keywords to look out for. Discard. Discard means discard a card from your hand. Any cards that are discarded go to the graveyard. Mill. Mill is like discard, but it starts from the deck and goes to the graveyard. Bench summon is when you bench a lower level monster to summon the monster higher rank of it. A special summon is when a card effect happens to where you can summon a monster without a bench summon. Bench break occurs when an opponent has 3 cards stacked in one bench zone, either face up or face down zone. Those cards are sent to the graveyard, and the player is zoned, either losing the shield or the game. A monster's battle color is the color that's right there by their level. For example, Flame Knight's battle color is red. A monster's battle stats are the 3 colors down here, green, red, and blue. These indicate what they battle with. A monster's battle color is what color they use when they attack. The object of the game is to zone your opponent. The player is protected by 3 shield cards. Each time a player is zoned, a shield is broken, and that card is added to their hand. Once a player has no shields, and they take on a bench break, a direct attack, or are zoned by a card effect, they lose the game. Monsters can also be zoned. If a monster is zoned, that card is face down and is set into the bench zone. Zone cards cannot move. And lastly, random cards can be zoned too. For example, a card effect can make you zone a card from your hand, which all zone cards go into a bench zone.